Okay, so this will just be a 2-minute video. So let's go back and check this out. Again, so what was the pattern? What did you see that I was doing? Well, I was just taking one away from each of the odds, wasn't I? So if I have 313, I'm going to call this I to the 312 times I. And then I'm going to say, is 312 divisible by 4? It's not. Oh, it is. Sorry, 312 is divisible by 4. 312 is divisible by 4 because 312 divided by 4 is 78. So that means if it's divisible by 4, the result is 1. So I to the 312 power is 1 times I. So I to the 313th is I. Again, these are silly numbers, but it's a really good practice with the pattern. What are we going to do here? We're going to turn this into I to the 206th times I. And is 206 divisible by 4? It is not, because it's 51.5. So it's an even number that's not divisible by 4. So I to the 206th is negative 1. And negative 1 times I is negative I. Pretty good. So far, so good. Let's do I to the 156. Well, we don't have to go through this step because this is already an even number. So I take 156, I divide it by 4, and I get 39. So that means that this is divisible by 4, so the result is 1. Same thing for 288. I take 288, I divide it by 4, and I get 72. So 288 is divisible by 4, so I to the 288th power is also going to equal I. How do I do this silly one? Well, this silly one, again, I'm just going to take 1 away from this. So I to the 1710 times I gives me I to the 1711. So what is I to the 1710? Is it a positive 1 or is it a negative 1? We know it's an even, so it's got to be that. So in my calculator, I do 1710 divided by 4, and I yield 427.5. That means 1710 is not divisible by 4. So it's an even exponent that is not divisible by 4. So that means I to the 1710 equals negative 1 times I. So I to the 1711 equals negative I. So make some of your own and just practice this skill. The biggest key to being successful in this is knowing these particular things. That this rule of exponents is very, very important. You have to know that when you multiply numbers with the same base and different exponents, you add those exponents together. You also know that an even exponent on I will yield a negative 1 or a positive 1. The positive one is very special because it's not only an even exponent, but it's an exponent that's divisible by 4. And so that's where you're going to yield your positive 1. If you can break this down, every single one, to these basic steps, you'll be able to simplify all of these. So practice a few of your own, and we'll talk more about this in class on Monday and Tuesday.